London King is here with us now. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. That's what I was doing. Closing the phone once and for all. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay on this Friday evening. It's just turned. Now, you've got a new single out and it's called Take Care. How would you describe that song?
Cheers. I would describe it as a very as a ballad, first of all. But I would describe it as very deep, very intense. It's definitely not the usual oh yeah, I'm in love, or I was in love, or there's something more, a bit more deeper than that, a bit more hurtful than that. It talks about abusive relationships and how you should just, walk away no matter how good
Mm,
they might seem at the beginning
yeah.
or even in the middle.
Yeah.
You just have to go.
Yeah.
So it's a ballad that describes, the feelings of leaving such a relationship.
Do you write about these topics a lot, or are you quite diverse in your topics that you write about?
I try to be quite diverse, actually. I try to, because I know that like a human life is a lot of things,
Mm,
and I know that a human life is a lot of happenings, and my life, of that has been a lot of happenings. So I try to be diverse. This is one of the things I write about because I do realize that there's a lot of people in these situations. So it's important to discuss also that side of life, like relationships and stuff. But I also write about other things a bit more ordinary and extraordinary.
yeah. How did you first start to get into making music in the first place then?
So, I mean, I started because I remember when I was a kid, I was, my big brother was a lot into music. So he was sharing his music with me. But also, I was watching music videos and I was watching all these big artists on TV. And I started thinking that I wanted to be that. I want to do that. I want to perform,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be on a stage. So at the beginning, it was just that. I was very, very young, I have to say.
Yeah.
Uh, but then with time, like by age 11, I started discovering that I could actually write music. So I wrote music as well.
Mm. Was it writing that you wanted to do first and just kind of be behind the scenes, or did you always think that you wanted to be the center stage?
Yeah, I always kind of wanted to be center stage. I'm kind of eccentric. I'm not afraid to say that because
Yeah.
that is part of my personality, and I always wanted to like show the world rather than show with my, you know, myself what I wanted to do and what I wanted to express rather than use someone else or something like that. I was like writing songs for someone else, which is not something that I exclude, but
Mm.
it's not something that is my primary source of joy or is a primary thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always wanted to be center stage, and that's how I started to get into the arts by just acting.
Oh.
At the beginning was just that, and then I started doing musicals very, very young, and then I discovered, certain passion for music as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've also got a band that you're in called Bite Me. Do you write the music for that?
So with Bite Me is a bit different because in Bite Me, we're all very much involved with the writings and the making music. It's mainly me and the guitarist, the lead guitarist of the band,
Mm.
making the music and writing the lyrics and stuff like that, which I really like. I'm not, I don't necessarily have to be like the first or the only one. I like to like share that kinds of things. It just is good. You brainstorm, you get other people's stories in, so that's cool.
Yeah. And what genre is Bite Me?
Bite Me, Bite Me is very punk rock. I would
Mm.
say more rock than punk, but there's a lot of punk influence as well in Bite Me. The thing about Bite Me is that um, we know we know what we want in
Mm.
terms of sound, but we're not going to let it limit ourselves. Like, we're always going to be rock. We're never going to be a band like Duran Duran or something like that. We're never going to be a girl band or something like that. Like, we
Yeah.
know what we want out of the sound. But if we want to explore something, if one day we want to explore something Motley Crue and the other day we want to go more on a bit of a glam rock kind of vibe. So isn't it, just jumping from place to place in the rock scene.
Yeah, absolutely. How does that differ, the music that you make in Bite Me, to your solo stuff?
So the thing is that with my solo stuff, I actually jump from genre to genre because
Ah,
I love multiple genres. As an artist, I am not discriminatory towards music. I listen to rock, I listen to pop, I listen to hip hop, I listen to rap, but I can't rap for the life of me. But
yeah,
I listen to that, still do. But so I feel like this is the main difference in sound. I feel like me as a solo artist, I try to be a little bit more explorative,
yeah,
which is interesting. Obviously, you don't have to be too far-fetched because otherwise people will be like, oh my God, all of a sudden she popped out a hip hop track where she's like trying to rap.
yeah,
But I'm trying to put elements of everything in
yeah.
track.
How do your fans react to that? Because sometimes with artists, they come out with a song that's completely different to what they usually make, and sometimes some fans are a little bit disappointed by that.
Yeah, I think that the thing with me is that I've always been a bit like that.
Mm.
Like, even if I think I have some somewhat distinctive tone, so you can understand that it's me.
Yeah,
But I've always been like that. Like, since I started with the little with my little demos and singles, I've always been like that. I've always been vary. I've always been ever evolving. I'm always trying to brand myself as someone who wants to explore in music in general. Well, so far,
mm.
people have never been like disappointed, I would say. They've always been quite interested about, the differences from track to track. They're never like extremely, different, like me just all of a sudden singing jazz, singing to
Yeah,
jazz, singing to jazz. But there's elements of other music influences in my songs, so you can hear that, you can hear the different, you can hear the like merging of styles. But it's never to the point that people were like, oh, who's that, is that even
yeah.
her? Like, it's never been like that. But people have never been disappointed so far. So
What are the furthest away genres that you've done then?
I think, I think, well, in 2017, when I was doing the second EP, I wanted to have a song that was very 90s pop.
Mm.
So I did this song that was quite 90s pop. And people were like, wow, that is something different. And now in the new
Yeah.
project, there's something that is very rock. And there's another track that is very grungy. So
Oh.
I even pushed it to further limits. Obviously, it's always me. Like, I feel like people will always recognize that it's me because I try to bring a certain energy and a certain style in terms of writing that is all mine. But in this new project that I'm working at, I feel like people will notice the difference a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Hmm. And how's the pandemic been for you? Because I think you like a lot of live performances, don't you? So
Yeah.
it's probably hit you hard, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in many ways, even outside the performances, I like to do stuff. I'm not the type of person that, because I know some musician friends that they do their performance, but they're quite introverted. I'm not
Mm.
that kind of person. I'm not um, I'm not extremely introverted. I'm not the most extroverted person you'll ever meet. Like, I don't chat to everyone and everyone's my friend and stuff like that. But I like being on the outside. I like doing stuff. And, the world right now is the opposite. So I would, to say that it's a depressing situation, it's really the least. But it hit me in the heart when you can't perform, especially for someone like me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Have you been able to record stuff at home? Have you got that set up?
Actually, I do. I actually am never happy with my setup because I feel like sometimes, and many times actually, I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like, no, this is not studio quality.
Yeah.
I hate it. So I chuck it away. And at the end of the day, like, we tried this during the first lockdown, because the second lockdown was a bit less strict, in the sense that if you could social distance in a studio, and if you could sanitize and everything, you could still work in it. But I didn't really have time to record in the second lockdown, so it was useless.
Yeah.
But in the first lockdown, I tried to record my vocals, and I was just chucking everything. I've spent 3 months chucking every possible vocal track in the bin because I was unhappy, because it's never going to be the studio quality.
Yeah.
So.
But then most people probably wouldn't even notice.
That's the thing, yeah. That's a bit of a blessing and a curse. I feel like many artists are very perfectionist. It's in their nature. And, they hear issues where there's no issues. Like, even with my producer, and I see that. It's like, I hear something there. I'm not quite, I don't know, is that the right note? She was like, yeah, what do you hear? And it's like, people start looking at you funny. It was like, what do you hear? There's nothing there. So I think it's in every artist's personality to be a bit of a freak.
Yeah. Your biggest critic is yourself, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, you have got a future novel coming out, I hear.
I do. It was the only thing that I could do during the pandemic in terms of artistry.
So what is the book about, if you're able to tell us that much?
So it's about to be finished. So hopefully very soon. But the book is, it's something that I've never done before. And at the beginning, I thought to myself that I was setting myself up for failure, because I was writing about a love story. Well, the subplot is a love story. There's a bigger plot. Which is about, abuse, specifically abuse during childhood. I just got really much into these very heavy themes and exploring these very heavy themes, which are part of life. But if you're not part of them, you're like, oh, I don't really think about that. But it's a reality out there. There's children being abused all over and stuff like that. It's a reality out there, but you never think about it because you don't go through it, thankfully. Yeah. So I wanted to explore that, but I put a subplot because it's quite heavy as a topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So by the sounds of it, then your book writing style is very similar to your songwriting, particularly the latest song, Take Care. Would you agree with that?
I would, yeah. So I just took a turn, especially lately, maybe because right now I'm in my mid-20s and maybe I'm growing up. So I'm looking to be a bit more introspective in the things that I write. And, my imagination goes, yeah, of course, it's part of being creative to, play a scenario, but I'm more for like real life scenarios right now, like that are not necessarily part of my baggage in terms of experience. Thankfully, I haven't been amused by it when I was a kid, but the realities are there. So
yeah. Absolutely. How did you manage to write a book during lockdown? Because a lot of people have struggled to really find the motivation. Either they've been worrying about all the statistics in the news every day, or just we've got this time and it's like, I'd rather just watch a film. How did you manage to just get down and do it?
It's funny that you say that because I was using Stranger Things as a middle ground
Oh,
for myself when I couldn't write anymore.
yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I've been hours on this.
Yeah.
I need a break. So I was going to my Netflix and
Yeah.
watching Stranger Things for the 300th time. So, I mean, I've been doing my watch time as well, you
Yeah.
know. I've got a little bit of a geeky part in me, so I do my TV series and movies, and I'm pretty much into some of them. But
Yeah.
the thing is that, especially at the beginning of that lockdown, I was very much stressed, like many people, about the news and the statistics and everything. But then at some point, I just like I found myself in so much anxiety that I was like, no, something needs to change. You know, this is too toxic. So I just thought about the biggest thing, the biggest release that has always been in my life, and that was art. But I'm not a very good painter,
Yeah.
and you cannot go out and gig. You cannot go and dance. You
Yeah.
cannot go and, you know, do stuff like that. You can go and act a play.
Nope.
So writing was really the only thing left for me as a release. So I was like, right, we have to do this. We have to stop the toxicity that is the world right now. And we have to and it was good. It kind of worked. I'm not saying the lockdown was smooth.
Yeah.
Lockdown was pretty bad for me, but there was a little something, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to have something to keep you occupied. Has Stranger Things subtly made its way into the book in any way?
I kind of wanted to. It has made its way into my music.
Ah, has it?
One of the tracks is New Wave, so it
All
resembles the
right.
whole soundtrack of that series in a way. But the thing is that since the book it doesn't take place, like the story doesn't take place in the 2010s.
Yeah.
It takes place before. So even more of a challenge, because in the noughties I was a child, so I have no idea I have very,
Yeah.
very little clues of how the world was, like the real world for an adult and for a teenager was in the noughties. So I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, no, I couldn't as much as I wanted.
Yeah, exactly. The only way to know what the noughties is like is to watch old TV programs and old newspapers.
True. That's what I did as well. I was like all those programs, like, I don't know, Gossip Girl, or
Yeah.
like, I don't know, Hannah Montana, that I was
Mm.
watching when I was a child. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what America was like in the noughties, isn't it?
I know. So it's
What
like,
have we
and
got here?
I particularly noticed the bad style. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
judge, but it was like such a
Yeah.
these leggings of multicolors, and then these, I don't know, it was a very particular style, but I wasn't too fond of it because it was a bit like a lot of stuff. I'm
Mm.
talking about the style for like teenagers and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Spice Girls. You look at what they're wearing, it's like nobody would wear that today.
Yeah.
Well, where are we able to check out all your music and the book as well when it's ready?
So, in regards to the music, my music is available on every digital platform, like literally everywhere, which I'm thankful of, including YouTube and these is everywhere, even Pandora in the US.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so that's about my music. So any platform, any digital platform that people use, they only need to the only thing that they need to do is type my name in, or tap the name of the
Yeah.
song, whatever. In terms of the book, so I'm in touch with a few publishing houses. So hopefully it's going to be on bookshelves online, but we
Yeah.
don't have a date just yet because I'm finishing reviewing it, like the last few
Mm.
things, you know. Perfectionist once again.
Yeah.
So it's not set yet, but I personally would like it to come out around August, September to
Mm.
2021. Let's see how
Okay.
the world works.
Yeah. And are you on social media as well for us to keep up with you?
I do. I'm not very active on Facebook, although I used to have like a Facebook page. But I'm loving the absolute out of Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'm on Instagram, London King Official. That's my handle. So I'm right there, and I'm active most of the time, just there. I ditch all the other ones, Twitter, all the other ones.
Yeah. There's too many these days.
Too many.
And they're all racist.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. I suppose we should wish you a Merry Christmas when it comes.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you too, guys, and hopefully a Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
We'll see.